Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. Chelsea news. It's been, I think yesterday was the day off. You guys will know that, well maybe you don't know, today is actually my birthday. So if ever there was a day that you can hit the like button on this video and subscribe, it could be today on my birthday. So we got Chelsea news Friday night. I said I was going to go out, so I should probably tell you how it went. It was messy. It was wonderful. I loved it. It was Lionel to the maximum. But we're back. It is my 29th year of existence now on the planet. One thing that never changes is, of course, my love for Chelsea Football Club. But this year, it's about elevating the channel, making everything just a different kind of level. So without any further ado, instead of going out and getting drunk on my birthday, we're in the office, we're making Chelsea news. We are going to talk today about Tyler Adams because this seems to have continued. There's been a lot of Chelsea stories this summer that I think when you think about top target, Caicedo, you think about how this saga has just dragged on and on and on and on and on. There are some players that Chelsea are linked with who the story kind of pops in once and then it pops out again, comes and it goes. Tyler Adams, this one isn't going away. We're also going to discuss Brighton, because Brighton have not only signed a Chelsea target, which is a bit annoying because Mohammed Kudus was one of the players that Chelsea really wanted, apparently. We're going to talk about what that deal does for Chelsea. Deivid Washington, a bloody 18-year-old Brazilian again. We're going to discuss this one. And then I also want to talk about Ian Maatsen. And I'm looking here through the screenshots for the news. Mauricio Pochettino thought the outcome of the latest Lukaku transfer saga was obvious. You know what? We're not talking about this bloke ever again, especially on my 29th bloody birthday. But we will begin with Fabrizio Romano. Chelsea made contact with Tyler Adams' camp to be informed on conditions of the deal, exploring costs. He's one of the names being considered as 20 million relegation clause is available. Focus remains on Moises Caicedo talks, separate deal and separate story. Chelsea, maybe. We need two players in this position. It's been something that we have seen talked about throughout the course of the end of last season into this pre-season period. It wasn't just going to be Caicedo in that midfield. We've seen Ugo Chaku come in as well. He is probably going to go on loan. There aren't many players in this position available at the level that Chelsea should be aspiring to sign. Declan Rice was the other obvious one in that position. Arsenal spent 100 million on him. West Ham, they were maybe looking to buy Conor Gallagher, but for whatever reason, West Ham don't want to spend any of this money that they've got coming in. They've sold Rice, selling Scamacca. They got 130 mil, but don't want to spend anything. Something weird is going on at West Ham United. But Tyler Adams to Chelsea, 20 million release clause. This kid's good. He's a good player. But I think Chelsea now, as a result of Mohammed Kudus, this has come out of nowhere, by the way. Chelsea were linked with Kudus about a week ago, 10 days ago. Arsenal were also heavily linked with him earlier in this window as well. The interest from Arsenal kind of died down. The way that Arsenal have done business this summer, Arteta identifies targets, takes a leaf out of the Mourinho 2015 Chelsea book, buys them early, and it looks as though with Timber, Havertz, and Declan Rice, Arsenal's business is done. Enter into the conversation Tony Bloom, Brighton Hove Albion. Mohammed Kudus has agreed personal terms with Brighton. With Brighton buying another midfielder, when you think about what Kudus is, he is certainly not the same profile of player as Caicedo, but with Roberto De Zerbi, you never know what he's got up his sleeve in terms of a plan for bringing in a certain type of player and then what he's going to do with the way that they play, putting them into his squad. Now, with Kudus going to Brighton, surely this means that Brighton have just accepted now that financially the deal with Chelsea Football Club, even though it's still technically not close because of the constant communications between Brighton, Chelsea, as much as Chelsea are linked with players like Tyler Adams, players again like Edson Alvarez from Ajax. We have never gone away in this saga with Moises Caicedo, and I think it is important when you look at people reporting on this story, your likes of Fabrizio Romano here. At the bottom of this tweet about Tyler Adams, focus remains on Moises Caicedo talks, separate deal and separate story. Chelsea, when we're expressing interest in these alternative targets, we're never going away from trying to get Caicedo. When we're buying Hugo Chukwueze, when we're buying this flipping 18-year-old Brazilian Washington that we're going to talk about in a moment, Chelsea aren't leaving the chat with Brighton. Chelsea know that it is one of those games of chess here where the long ball game of just not saying to Brighton, okay, 100 million, that's what you want? Sure, we're going to pay it now. Chelsea is still long ball in this, but in the process of approaching other players, we're never leaving the Caicedo deal. Which is why, now that Brighton are going to be signing Mohammed Kudus, really good player, a real great player potentially, under Roberto De Zerbi. They've already lost Alexis Mac Allister. They've got European football to look forward to this season. The way they played last year, and with De Zerbi as the coach, I don't see why Brighton can't go all the way in European competition. So, all of the transfer news that we're seeing with players coming into Brighton will absolutely have a ripple effect here on this Chelsea deal. Maybe it gives Chelsea a bit more of a bargaining chip to be able to be like, well, you've already got a midfield replacement. I don't necessarily think Kudus is a profile similar to that of Caicedo, where De Zerbi is always said throughout this entire saga, he needs a player like Caicedo or better to replace him. And again, yeah, it's all Hollywood entertainment, drag it out a little bit. That's not what Brighton are trying to do. But now, watch this Kudus deal. It's not, I don't think, finalised yet, but it's getting close. Today is Sunday, just because it's my birthday and I'm pretty chill. Clubs are going to be working, and I think in the next few days, we may see an end to this Caicedo deal, this saga. I think Chelsea are going to come in and cough up the money. We move. Chelsea remain confident to complete Deivid Washington deal next week. The player wants Chelsea move, and Santos green light is imminent. More to follow soon for 2005 born talented striker. Bloody hell. If I was a striker, I'd be entering the peak right now, 29 years old. I can't be a professional footballer anymore. It's one of those sad realities of getting older. But we're now signing kids who are flipping 18 years old. Chelsea are building a talent pool here of Brazilian youngsters. It's a smart move. I think Brazil, we know they've always been a massive global footballing powerhouse, but again, they seem to be coming into a generation where there's serious talent coming out the country once more. We are making moves on a lot of these players. And Deivid Washington, I cannot sit here and tell you I know anything about this kid. I really don't know anything other than the base level research that I've conducted so far since the news came out a couple of days ago that Chelsea are looking to buy him. He only turned 18 years old in the month of June, which is absolutely mad. The deal isn't cheap either. It's worth 20 million euros. A lot of people are coming out and saying, well, it's been 20 million quid between what we want to spend on Caicedo and not. And now we're still doing all of these deals for these youngsters. You know what? I get it. I get it from both sides here. I get the avenue that people are approaching this from, saying, surely we should be spending the money now for now. Yeah, we should be. But at the same time, what Chelsea are trying to do here, we're not buying all of these players because they're going to be Chelsea players right now. They're probably not even going to be a lot of them Chelsea players ever. We are buying all of these young, talented players, sticking them in a pool out on loan or keeping them at the club. There's a limit of how many players we can loan out now, which I think is also a very important thing to talk about here. When you've still got some players like Hakim Ziyech at the club, Romelu Lukaku, if we don't find sales for these guys, then buying all of these players, we can't loan all of them out anyway. Like, Chelsea need to be careful that we don't get stuck like we did last season with a squad that's just too big. The last thing we want Mauricio Pochettino to have is a bunch of senior players who don't want to be here, who couldn't get sold, so yet they're still not playing football and they're not happy, but also a massive bunch of youngsters that also don't know why they can't be loaned out, why they're not getting first team opportunities, because they're not ready. So with Washington, he could move straight to Strasbourg. We've heard a lot of stories about players could move to Strasbourg with Chelsea this summer. I think, you know, again, this season just gone in Brazil, he scored 2 goals in 9 games. Like, this guy isn't coming in for now. That is absolutely sure. But again, young Brazilian strikers, it's always something to be excited about. We move. Mauricio Pochettino wants to keep Ian Maatsen at Chelsea. New contract talks have begun after the youngster's impressive pre-season form. Mauricio Pochettino has told Ian Maatsen he wants to stay, and Chelsea have begun negotiations. His future is still not secure, with West Ham, Ajax and Lyon, who played against Man United yesterday, chasing Ian Maatsen. I think Ian Maatsen staying at Chelsea, from the moment we saw him in that opening game against Wrexham, it was a no-brainer for me. Every time we have seen Maatsen play, the fact that he has been used all over the field, I think, again, is proving to him, whilst contract talks could be going on, that, look, there's space for you in this team. I'm not just playing you up front because I don't see you as a left-back. I'm playing you there because I believe in you. I think you're good enough to play anywhere across the front line, as well as the position that you've grown up playing and that Chelsea saw you as before. Brilliant management from Mauricio Pochettino. And there's also rumours that he's not been impressed with Cucurella and would be happy to sell him this summer. I don't know about you lot, but I sometimes feel when it comes to Chelsea managers, we all have our ideas as fans, what we think is the right thing, what we think is the best thing. But a lot of the things that I believe and feel, I'm actually so happy that Pochettino seemingly sees it the same way. Ian Maatsen is expected to sign this new deal at Chelsea Football Club to remain a Chelsea player, and I think he could have a massive season at Chelsea. I really do. I think he's impressed me during this pre-season, and I think, again, when managers are playing players out of position, there's also got to be a willingness from these players to be able to make it work. Sometimes, even when you're a defender, when you're a kid, you might want to get played further up the field. You might want those opportunities to be in scoring positions. With Maatsen, the way that he took on tactical instructions, and we could see it, because every time he played somewhere new, he still did that role perfectly, in my opinion, in the sense of spatial awareness, positional awareness, and just final ball quality. And the touches and everything else, the link up was so good. Ian Maatsen has a big future, and I think a big season at Chelsea Football Club this year. Going to wrap up this Chelsea news video for you guys now. It's the final week building up to the season, so if you're not yet subscribed to the George Benson Football channel, this is the biggest year yet. If you've enjoyed any of my content in the past, if you enjoyed this one, I promise you, you're not going to want to miss out now, because we're upping everything. The amount of content, the quality of the content. We're not messing about anymore. Thank you for all the love and support. And I will see you guys either later on today if there is big news. I know it's my birthday, but we're on the H2O. I'm looking after myself, all right? We're trying to do the best we can. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Come on, you Blues.